Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode here at Tribal Trades, the daily show coming at you from the great state of Florida. One hell of a drug. And I do want to welcome you to the channel wherever you are tuning in from around the world. Thanks for watching. Today we're going to talk about an indicator, a signal, actually two signals. Have they failed? Will they fail? What will happen if they play out? These are two huge indicators here, and we're going to take a look at them in just a moment. But before we do that, of course, if you're a regular watcher of the show, you know what I'm going to say next. Smash the like button. This does help get this channel out to more people, and of course does help support the channel. Do appreciate all the kind words and encouragement that you all leave in the comment section. You take the time to write it. I take the time to read it. Much appreciated. And of course, those of you who ask questions in the comment section, I do look to get back to you as soon as I am able to. If you'd like more immediate and direct access to me, you can find me in the Stocks with Josh Discord. Where is that located? I'm so glad you asked. Just in the description of this video, you might need to click the More button. That will pop out the description. There are two links at the top where you can get signed up and get started on your journey there. And I am in the crypto channel there daily with some of the most amazing people on the planet. Also, there's a meme coin channel, aka the Party Zone, and I have my own Crown Traders channel there as well, where I share education, insights, resources, and I also share some of the trade setups that I have, as well as entertainment. Because I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. Are you not entertained? And then also make sure that you're following me on X. Okay, and we are still doing giveaways. And so I can't give away to everybody, but this is how I'm going to find just some random people will be selected here. And we try to do them daily here over the Christmas period, now through into the new year. You can just find me at Crypto Coins 365. Just make sure you're following them. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure you have a Sui wallet to be able to receive the coins. I will be posting a list of the winners after they've won, because I found when I was posting the winner, scammers were jumping all over it, pretending to be me, etc. And so I'll make sure that I notify the winners, get you your coins, and then we will post all the winners here so you can see all the people that have been fortunate enough. So if you'd like an opportunity to be possibly randomly selected here, just make sure you are following me here. And obviously follow me anyway, because I give some great alpha here as well and updates. And so you can see my latest update here from today. All right, so let's jump into what are we talking about? What are the indicators? And the indicators, we've got a head and shoulders here on the daily time frame. Now, this is a real ugly head and shoulders in my opinion. I don't like looking, when people ask me, is that a head and shoulders? I'm like, oh yeah, but it's not clean. It's ugly. Look, there you have the head. There you have a left shoulder, a really deformed left shoulder, and then you have a little short mini right shoulder here. But in reality, it's almost been invalidated here. We have this high of 99,913, and we have a high here of 99,754. So as soon as it goes above the shoulder, that becomes invalidated. Some of you might say, well, technically it's invalidated anyway. And it's hard to disagree with that. However, so that's one signal that could possibly have failed that could lead to some more upside for Bitcoin. What's the other one? The other one is some bearish divergence. Now, we did see this on the daily time frame. You can see here on the RSI, we have high, a lower high, a lower high, and of course, we see higher highs on price. And that, in my opinion, has now played out. We now have a lower low on the RSI and a lower low. However, on the weekly time frame, we do have a high and we have a lower high over here on the weekly time frame, where clearly we have a higher high. So there is a real discrepancy there between the price and the RSI. And we can kind of quickly do a little bit of you can see how that is lower there. And so now, just because there is bearish divergence on the weekly doesn't mean that it necessarily has to play out. Of course, the RSI could rise and break above this level over here, sitting at, it looks like about 80, 89, 88 maybe, around that level. could go higher and invalidate. We have seen that in the past. Just a month or so ago, there was quite a lot of bearish divergences on the 4-hour, on the daily time frame, and they all ended up being invalidated. Okay, so that's number one. So signal could be invalidated, just like the head and shoulders looks like it's going to be invalidated as well. And then, of course, even if it does play out, it could take some time to play out. It could take a number of weeks or even months for this pattern to play out. We have seen that in the past. So we'll keep an eye on what price does if we're able to make a new all-time high here above 108,000, particularly if this RSI stays lower than this current level here, that the latest peak that we just had, which is sitting at around 78 and change. And if it does stay below that and we create a higher high, then I think that is going to be confirmed and we have double bearish divergence on the weekly. So we will keep an eye on that. I did want to bring that to your attention. Now let's just jump into the normal charts here for Bitcoin and what we have seen. We have seen a good move from Bitcoin. Okay, we did see some fairly bearish wicks here, 1, 2, 3. But what I said to invalidate this is we needed a close above that. And that's exactly what we got. We filled these wicks here and we closed above them, but then we resisted at our good old friend 100K. And we really have been trading very heavily between this 90,000 and 100,000. Most of the activity has been between these two yellow Fibonacci's, the double stack Fibonacci lines that we have between about 92 and 97. Now we have broken above those. Now we have had a large deviation outside of the range. Now, of course, if we start to break above, number one, we're going to invalidate that little head and shoulders pattern. Number one is going to be invalidated properly. And number two is we could go on and move up and start to test these regions up here, 104, 105, and even get back to the new all-time high. Now, I did a poll the other day in the Discord. One of them was the low for January in? And the results of that, obviously January 1st is currently the low at 92,888. It was 50-50. So half the people felt the low is in already for January, which means if there is going to be any further dump for January, we haven't had that normal drop for January yet, because January 1st, unless the January 1st was the drop basically, but it didn't really, it kind of pumped from December 30th and then January 1st was higher, December 30th drop here. So that would be the likelihood that we would go up quite a bit higher, but then the drop down would not be as high. And there's a 50-50 feeling that this 85 to 89K level won't be hit compared to it coming and being hit. And of course, that is a possibility because all these moving averages are continuing to move up and move higher, and that's good for Bitcoin for support, and maybe we don't see a big dump. It really depends when the drop happens. At some point, Bitcoin is going to have a drop, and the general feeling is 50-50 that it's going to have a significant pump first and either drop not as low as that 92,000 level, or we're just going to continue to go sideways for a bit before taking off. Generally, February is the moment, the month that things really begin to move. That February to April time, that's when we start to see the altcoins really start to go. A lot of people go, oh, it's altcoin season, what's happening? Why aren't my altcoins moving? Well, I'm going to explain that a little bit in the altcoin show in a couple of hours, but historically, they've started to make the move in January, but haven't really started to go parabolic until that February, March, April time frame there, just a few short months. And then many didn't ever recover from the last cycle in April 2021. Most altcoins topped out in 2021 in April, even though Bitcoin didn't top out until November of 2021. So just keep that in mind. Okay, you could be looking here and see a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders here. We have a shoulder here ahead. If we were to come back down and play an inverse head and shoulders, we could flip the script and say, okay, not only is the head and shoulders not happening, maybe there is an inverse head and shoulders happening, and maybe that bearish divergence on the weekly time frame doesn't play out. Maybe it does get invalidated there, okay? So what are we looking at here? We do want to see a break of this 100K level, a retest of support, and then really moving up to start to test this K level here. And you can see we did spend a little bit of time. It broke through, retested the support, and then went up. And to start to come back into this upper level here and move around in here. And we have seen in previous Januaries, if you looked at my Twitter posts back from just a few days ago, we have actually seen on occasions here, if we look, where we have seen where Bitcoin, for example, in 2013 didn't drop until the 24th of January. So it actually pumped and then had the drop near the end of January, but didn't drop as low as the earlier low that it had set on the 1st. So very interesting. In 2013, January put its low on the 1st, pumped, and then had its drop at the end of the year. It feels like at the moment that we could be repeating 2013, where the January low possibly be in on the 1st of the month, and then we pump up to the inauguration, buy the rumor, sell the news, and drop down, but not go as low as that 92,000 that we set at the beginning of January. And that is a possibility that I have been very upfront on this channel about. As we see historically, these are the kind of things that have taken place and have happened. And in reality, if you look at when these drops have happened on other times, they have happened early, on the 5th and on the 3rd and on the 8th. So the 3rd and the 5th and the 8th with three significant drops that we saw early. So once we get past the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th, the reality of the possibility that we are going to see a pump until the end of January instead, and then a pullback, and with a pullback maybe not as severe, because I do feel that the January drop was in part front run in December. Everybody's expecting the drop, so they sell off in December. The drop kind of doesn't really happen now, and so people go, oh, now they're buying and they're bullish, and then the drop comes in January and will catch people a little bit more unexpected, but it won't catch us unexpected because we're prepared for that scenario. Okay, let's look at the yellow brick road heat map here. And as you can see, follow the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. And as you can see, it's come down and tagged it perfectly. 81 million was liquidated down there. And so we could see here the next move could be to that 100K level. We've already been up there or close to it, testing it. We could come back there again. Let's look at the 24-hour time frame here. Again, there is more yellow to the upside, more liquidity there at 100K. Let's just keep going through. If I'm the market maker, again, if I'm the market maker, there we go again, came down and tagged that liquidity. There is some down here starting to grow down around that 97 K level, and that could be now that we trade in that 97K to 100K level, in that little zone right now, level to level, just moving, liquidating these areas there. Again, there is more liquidation there. Can it be this obvious? Let's look at some of the other time frames. Okay, now we have a really bright spot down there at 97. Okay, so if I'm the market maker, and I can only tell you what I would do if I'm not the market maker, but I'm not the market maker, is I'm going to go up and grab this 100K, maybe even this 100,800K, almost 101,000. I'm going to come liquidate that, and then I'm going to come down and grab and retest that 97 area, that Fibonacci level. I'm going to come down and grab that there. That's what I'm doing. If I'm a market maker, I'm just being honest with you. You can see there is a lot of liquidity starting to build below this, and look at this one down here right now at 91,500. There's 92 million down there, and this is leading me more now towards that we move more towards the upside, and it creates more and more liquidity here. And then we have that January drop that's coming. So I do still think the January drop is coming. It's just a question of when. When is that January drop coming? Is it coming now? What are we now? We're the 6th of January. Is it going to come before the 10th? Is it going to come somewhere before the 10th and the 20th? Or is it going to come in the final third of the month? I'd like to know what you think. Is it going to come in the first 10 days, which is going to it could come. We could really pump up. We've seen Bitcoin go 8,000 in just a day before on Christmas Day. So could we go up and really push these levels up here and liquidate all these shorts before coming tumbling down in the next 4 days? So I want to hear, and I'm going to also put a vote in the Discord as well. I'd love to know your thoughts in YouTube below in the comments. Let me know, do you think a January drop is coming in the first third, in the middle third, or in the final third of the month? And what price do you think it's going to go to? That's a tough one, because really, to really more accurately determine where Bitcoin's going to drop to, you've got to know where it drops from. You've got to see where it drops from, what's happening, what the RSIs are doing, where the moving averages are, where the Fibonacci's are in relation to that, where the order book is, where the liquidation levels are at. But you can see there is a fair amount that has now built up below price there. And you can see even on the monthly time frame up at that 100K level, boom. That would not surprise me if that was to take place there. And we did see some upside before the downside, coming and grabbing this liquidity. I think on the 3-day chart, that gives us a really clearest indication there to come up, take that liquidity and come down. But maybe the market makers go the other way. Maybe think that's too obvious. Let's go down and get all this liquidity first, and then we'll let this liquidity build up and grab, because there is most of the liquidity looks to me to be the downside. It does. Even though we've got some bright spots there, and on the short-term time frame, there is the brightest spot there and there, that doesn't mean that they're going to go and get that first. That's just what I would do if I was the market maker, certainly not the market maker. And so if we look here on the charts, how that could play out, with just really, we're sitting there at 99,000. It's just really a small move up. Small move up here to take the liquidity before sending it back down to this 97,000 level. And then we'd need to reassess where we feel the market might be going from there. But then we might then see it take off. And of course, if we do see this dump later in the month, we'll see some kind of move to the upside here to 104, 105, up to 18. Maybe we could even go higher. I did a poll and in the Discord that closed, and 60% of people felt that there is going to be a new all-time high for Bitcoin in the month of January. And if that does happen, if we do come up to this 113,000 level, another key double Fibonacci level, then maybe we don't see such a big a tumble as we normally see, and maybe we just come back to this 100K level. We will certainly cross that bridge when we get to it. For now, I'm just set up with my buy orders to buy any dips that may come. The 50-day moving average has generally been a strong support, of course, and we did see it break above, retest as support there. And so, but we do have these other moving averages that are a little bit further down. You know, we have the 100-day moving average sitting at 83,900, but this is moving up all the time. This is a moving average that is moving up all the time, as the 200 EMA on the daily. So that's the weekly time frame there. The 200 EMA on the daily is moving up at 77,000 as well. And as these continue to move up, if we were to see some more bullish upside for another couple of weeks, then the targets to the downside can adjust as well, because these moving averages move up also. And if we did see this 100-day moving average, for example, move up to this 91,000 zone or 92,000 zone, then we might readjust and say, hey, listen, maybe it's not going to go as deep as 85 to 89. Maybe now we're looking more at the 90,000, 91, $92,000 area there. And maybe the low for January is in, and maybe we are repeating 2013. That low could possibly be in already. Let me know your thoughts. And of course, as always, until the next episode, which will be the altcoin show in a couple of hours, don't miss out on that. Happy trading.